Hello, so I thought I'd do a longer video explaining about my week retreat at Dr. Joe Dispenza's at Excel London 2022. It was absolutely phenomenal. I've always followed Joe Dispenza's work and listened to him. I've done a lot of listening, but not a lot of practice. And that week we got to put it into practice. But what I actually loved about it was like having a science lesson. And I went in there like an innocent child, didn't know anything, and came out with a lovely surprise. So he taught us all about how energy works, how science works, how the science of it all works, about frequency, and when you live in matter, which is basically the 3D world, matter, everything takes long. Like, it will take 30 years to pay off your mortgage. It'll take you this amount of time to go on holiday, to save up. You have to save up, hard graft, work hard. But when you're in the field, 5D, things come to you like a laser. So that intrigued me. I was like, wow, that's cool. And I realized that if you're in a lower frequency, if you're in a 3D world, everything is done through matter. So really tough work, hard work, you know, you have to save for the house, take you 30 years to pay the mortgage, maybe longer sometimes, depending on who you are, how much you've got. If you want to go to holiday, you've got to work for many months on end. But when you raise your frequency, you can be in the field. And in the field is like a laser beam. There's no obstacles. It's just a pure laser beam to getting what you want. And the way you can get that is by constantly doing the meditation and not getting up off your seat, off your meditation seat, and going back to your usual ways of getting involved in bitching, gossiping, judging, going back to who you were, because you have to get up off that seat and become entirely that new person and live it through the whole day. That's why I love his walking meditations. I absolutely love them, and I've started to do them before work because they get you into, it gets you into a trance state, but you're walking in that state. You're not just sat on your meditation chair and then you get up and you're back to normal again. You really have to live it. So many people wait for a crisis or an awful situation to happen for them to want to find this thing that we're all looking for, this wholeness, this freedom, this joy, this thing. Then they will sit there for 3 meditations if they don't get up feeling like they believe that they are that new person, you know. And I always think we have to wait till something awful happens, a crisis, a terrible situation, for us to do something. And I've always been one of them people that will never do that. I will never have that. And I'm so grateful that I don't have a crisis or anything, but I am willing, and I know there is more. So that motivates me more than ever. Going into Dr. Joe's with a childlike awness and fascination, and just learning about the science and the magic of it all, it really did give me, like, I actually thought I'd go to learn about the science and to learn to stay in the no time, no space, you know, no space, no time, you know, in that field of just peace and calmness in the black void, really. But I had a bigger surprise at first day. So, you know, I was sat there and my body was aching. I had a lot of resistance. We had to do a progressive, and it was, I did it twice, and I was doing the meditations, but I was getting aches and pains, and I was like, I'm really not enjoying this. What is this? Because this isn't what I feel like when I do my usual meditations. And usually because I'm lying down or doing a chi key class, which you do a bit of movement, chanting. So I'm not sat down for like 47 minutes to an hour. I remember doing the breathing one. There's one that's an hour and it's breathe in and then you go into the meditation. I'm thinking, that is so hard. I'm never going to do that one again. So I stuck to the other ones. But I still kept getting, I had the worst like pains in my back and my neck, and my head hurt more. And when I went to the first day of Joe's, my back was still in agony. And then something happened on the second day, but one of the meditations, I kept seeing things, repeated things, and I won't go into detail about what I've seen, because it's not for me to tell my experience, because I would love you all to have the same the same magical experience I had, and your experience might be completely different to mine. And if I tell you things, then you won't be able to get out of your head and just to live the magic. So I don't ever want to tell people what I had, you know, because I don't know if different experiences happen. But anyway, I started to see certain things, so I'd write it down. And I was like, well, I think I'm just making all this up. But then Dr. Joe Dispenza showed some slides, some pictures, and basically my mum was like knocking me. I went with my mum too, and it was a really nice experience for us both to have. And he was just like my mum was nudging me every time a picture came up, because that's exactly what I was explaining to her. But I was like, I think I'm making all this up, to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure. It feels so real, but so I'm not sure. It's just very mystical. But I like a mystical experience, so it was cool. So when I got the confirmation, I was like, this is great. This is what's meant to be happening here. So I was like even more in awe and like, ooh, you know, what's going on. And I loved learning the science because it took away the fear. If I didn't know the science behind it, I would have been a bit fearful and not being able to get out of my head. But I had such a great experience. Dr. Joe and his team give the utmost service beyond what I ever imagined. So I'll carry on from my last video about Dr. Joe and his team giving so much service. Oh my word. The way they looked after us was absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful for that experience. They went above and beyond. I mean, Dr. Joe, a whole 7 days, like, he showed up fully. His team showed up fully. They looked after us so well. I had the best time of my life. It was just so incredible. And he was saying lots of people that go to his events really go, you know, deeper than they ever thought. They come for the house, the car, the holiday, the money, and in the end they end up doing greater things and bigger service. And it really touched my heart, especially there's this group, charity organization called Gift to Give. I'm not sure if it's Gift to Give Foundation or Gift to Give Charity, and they really burst open my heart because they went to this really tough women's Mexican prison where the security guards told them, you might not come out alive, and they were willing to sacrifice their life to give to these other women. And these other women in the Mexican prison were monsters. They were raised by monsters. They became monsters. I mean, they probably committed the most awful things known to man. He didn't even mention it, but he only had to show a picture and you could see the darkness in them. They were so dark, and it actually made you feel quite emotional seeing how dark it was. Also, the women had to sleep. The women in the prison had to sleep standing up. And I assume because if they lied down, then they wouldn't be here today. And they had to have little pouches where they kept their belongings because of everything else was stolen. So these women gave their time and effort, and they were in the field actually, so it was easier. And the women started to learn and practice Dr. Joe's science formula and put it into practice. And after 30 days or so, I can't remember, it was time after all the teaching, I think it came to about day 28, day 30, it showed a picture of them and their face was completely different. They were transformed. They had so much lightness. And I was so inspired by those women, because those Mexican women could have said, well, I can't change. I've been raised by monsters. I am a monster. I can't forgive myself for all I've done. I can't forgive them. They could have put blame on the outside, on pointing to them, but they chose to forgive themselves, to let the light in. They chose to forgive the monsters who did that to them, so they could move, they could be whole, feel wholeness again, so they could feel joy and freedom again. And I thought to myself, my word, if these women that come from the darkest places can come to light, come into the light and be blessed by the divine, then none of us have an excuse. And I gave 1,000,000% that week. I gave everything. They burst open my heart, and I knew it was possible. It was phenomenal when I saw their faces. They were so light. And one woman said, I'm free now. And I just was like, oh my God. It just hit me so much. It was beautiful to see. And there was many more. There was a young lad, he came with his brother, I'm not sure where from, somewhere in India, and he was told all his life, he used to run and stuff when he was younger, and then he couldn't walk anymore, and he was told by all the doctors that he'd never get better, he wouldn't be able to walk again. And when we're doing our walking meditation, he was walking, he walked, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will walk, and I can just see him running. And that was just such a beautiful moment. And he showed people who were blind in in Mexico recently, and they could see again, or colorblind and they could see color. A young lad, probably about my age, in his 30s, he couldn't walk in a wheelchair, and he'd get up off his seat and he's walking, and he doesn't give up until he's that new person. So you don't sit down and do the meditation and you get up and you live your normal life. You really have to become that new person. And if you don't feel it in the first meditation, then you have to keep going until you become that new person. Dr. Joe said it's always in crisis or something major happening that we want to change our lives. And I've always been that sort of person that says, I don't want to wait till that event, because those moments happen, and I don't want that moment to happen to say, all right then, let me change my life now. I want to change it now while I'm fit, healthy, and I can. And now I've learned the formula, then there's no excuse. And I would like to be an inspiration. I would like to be an example for people. I want people to say, what the hell have you done? And I'll show them what I've done, and I want them to do the work as well. I want to inspire people to live not in the matter, but in the field. I realised the battle of the brain was so intense. I can't remember, it might have been the third day. We had to get up at 2:30. There was a 4 a.m. pineal gland meditation. So as soon as it starts, the doors are locked. So if you want to go out to the toilet or anything, you can't come back in. And I had a 4-hour, 15-minute battle with my brain. My brain was the best meditation. It was the most painful, but the most best lesson I've ever had in my whole life. I'm so grateful for those 4-hour, 15 minutes at Joe Dispenza's retreat. Because if this happened in my everyday life, I would have run to Netflix. I would have run to the Pick-a-Mix. I would have run to anything to stop me feeling this. I would have run to the ibuprofen to stop me feeling this pain. I had a migraine. Everything was ultra intensified. Migraine, the knots in my back, my shoulders, my knee, my feet were swollen. I needed the loo. And I was having this battle in my brain going, oh, but you don't understand, Joe, I've got a migraine. Or I've got a bloody bad back. Oh, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to a hotel and I'm going to sleep. Well, I'm going to get my mum up. I'm going to get my mum up because this is a pile of shit. And I was going, I think I did this for 4 hours. But as soon as he said breathe, I was like, he asked me one more time. But I did it. I did the work. I wanted to crawl out of there. I tried out. I was having battle. And when it finished, all the pain, I was literally having sick come up to my throat. I had such a bad migraine. My shoulders, you'd have thought I was dying. I felt like the pain was so intense that I literally could have walked up and gone, and I didn't. I stayed. I was tough. I stayed. I was willing. I was so willing. Even though I wanted to sleep on my belly and go back to the hotel room, I stayed. I did the 4 hours and 15 minutes. And when I woke up, my mum was like, oh my God, are you all right? My hair was everywhere. I looked a mess. And as I walked out those doors, I went, oh my God, nothing hurts. And I started laughing. And I was like, that was a battle with my brain, and I shone light on it. And I didn't go, oh, that's so silly. I've just wasted 4 hours of my time having a battle on my brain. I'm so silly and stupid. I failed. Oh, and do you know what? I love that part of me as well. I love that part of me that wants to keep me safe too. And I thanked it. And I had another voice as I was having, oh, I want to go back to the hotel room. Oh, Dr. Joe, you don't understand. I've got a migraine. Because I remember him on stage saying, don't you blame me. And then I got it. I got it because I was blaming him. I was like, well, you don't understand. You don't get a migraine. And I was blaming him. And then I was laughing because I had this little sweet voice going, come on, Pat, I love you. One more go. I'll never ask you again. One more go. Come on, Pat. So I had this like one that was really angry and one that was pushing me, going, come on, just one more push. I love you. And when I came out of it and all the pain went and I felt so light and it was so funny. It was hilarious because it was like a cartoon caricature. And I saw how much the pain in my body intensifies when I'm going out of my comfort zone. And what I'd usually do was put on a bit of Apple, put on a bit of Netflix, go to sleep, maybe buy some ice lollies, pick a mix, chocolate, you know, to go back and definitely take ibuprofen, because that was my go-to. I'd be popping them pills like no tomorrow, you know, if I had a bad sore neck or back or headache. And since I've come back from Dr. Joe's, I've not needed one ibuprofen. I've not drunk coffee. I've not had a knot. I had like a twinge always in my left shoulder. I thought that's just like wear and tear, and it's going to be like that for the rest of my life. And it's completely gone. Like, I never used to be able to lift my arm up like this. It would always be like this because of the pain here. And if I did lift my arm up like this, I'd feel the pain here. Don't feel anything anymore. I was like, woo! Went to yoga the other day. I drop in and out all the time. I'm not consistent. I do it once a week. Might do a week and take 3 weeks off and go back. I could do things I've never done in my life. Also, I noticed by being consistent with the meditation, my chatter in my brain has completely lowered. I don't have the judgment. I don't have the fear, the judgment, the anything anymore. I'm able to see clearly just in the present moment. The only thing I'm finding hard is in my left and right, because that's the only thing I noticed in yoga. But everything else, everything feels very natural now, like how my body should be working, very in tune with my body. As the week was going on, my body was doing some crazy shit. Like, oh my God, I was like twinging, like I couldn't move. It's like electrical volts, and my body had to keep moving and burping, and it was all sorts going on. And when I came home, I literally was like, my legs were flinging up in the air. There's just so much energy in me. I go to a center. It's a key center. It's like Qi or Qigong, and they do treatments as well. And I just knew straight away that the next day I'm going to go to my center and I've got to get a treatment just to help calm me down. Everything was very heightened, and my body wouldn't stop moving like a crazy person. Like, you know, like it was like I was having an exorcism, and people would have been freaked out. But you know what I noticed? Nobody pays attention. They're so busy in their own world that nobody even noticed. But I did notice people at work want to hug me more and tell me they love me more, or they're coming up with a piece of paper and a pen. They're saying, what have you done? Where'd you go again? What do you do? Like, you know, because they can see something different, and I know it's because I'm in a different frequency, and that becomes quite magnetic, that frequency. We're all searching for the same thing, like wholeness, joy, you know, just oneness, really. And when people can sense that, there's this knowing, you know, and they want to know as well. So I've been lucky and grateful to share it with people, not preach, but when they come and ask me to share my experiences. And I'm just really grateful for everything Dr. Joe and his team have done. You know, it was the most beautiful time I had, especially with the healing for somebody else. We all did 3 days of healing somebody who was on the floor, and we all worked together because you can't do it alone anymore. We need to be the flock of birds, and we all need to join as one. So everyone needs to, whoever is keeping up with the work, we need to be the example. So the flock, we all become one, and we all become a flock of birds. And doing the healing for somebody else, to want somebody to have a healing and to be healed. When you want that so strong for somebody else, it bursts open your heart. When you see the Mexican women in the prison not sleeping up anymore and feeling free inside their hearts and forgiving themselves makes your heart burst open. When you see a young lad who was told he could never walk, and he had visualizations of Usain Bolt, and he had this determination, and you see him on the London dock and he's walking, it just blows my mind. I know Dr. Joe's personality is not somebody that could, well, he did. He'd go in front of loads of people. He's more of a, you know, if he knew that we couldn't, he knows that we need to be a flock. That's why he teaches this. Otherwise, he'd be in a mountain somewhere and he'd never come down. But he knows how important the work is and how much people need to, you know, do this work to set themselves free. So he's really dedicated his life and his team, the beautiful people that work with him. It was really touching, to be honest with you. Things I've taken away is when we live in matter, that's constantly hard work. It's hard graft. We buy a house, we're working 30 years to pay off that house. We might get a holiday, but everything's tough. But when you raise your frequency and you're in the field, things come to you like a laser beam. You don't have to come to it. So you do the work and you attract it like a magnet, and it draws it. The experience will come to you, and then obviously you take the action. So it's an easier way instead of the hard graft on the lower frequency levels. And how to raise your frequency is to be able to forgive yourself, forgive others, not point fingers and say, I can't change because that person did that to me, or that person was like that. I can't do that because I'm like this. Is to go every day and walk as if you have changed already. So you've got to raise your frequency, not go back to your work or to your family and bitch and moan or get irritated, you know. And if you do, then every day you write in your book, like, what did I do good today and what can I do better tomorrow? So you have a notepad and pen and you ask yourself the questions. Did I manage to go all day consistently in the present moment without having a thought or judgment or this or that? Did I keep up with my meditation? What could I improve on tomorrow? Was there any resistance? What's coming up in my body, feeling in my body? It's a lot like the David Hawkins scale of emotions, really. You know, when there's the fear, apathy, grief, and they're all lower vibrations. It's the same with the frequency. So when you move up into the courage, the willingness, the love, you know, all the top ones, and that's how you raise your frequency. If you want to manifest something, say people have visions and they have the visions of them on holiday or with the perfect job, which is wonderful. All those visions are actually true. But that vision can't come down to you on your frequency. You have to raise your feel-good frequency to go up to match that vision. The vision can't come down and collect you. It's not a bus. You literally need to go up to it to align with it. So if any visions you have, know in your heart that that's true, and that is absolutely 100%, you can have that. But the only way you can have that is if you raise your frequency. So that's constant meditation, and not meditation in your bed, because there's no point lying down in your bed, because the body's built for bed is sleep. So you go straight into alpha and you're gone. But you need to be in a waking state. So Joe says, find a place, find somewhere else completely different to your bed. You can do some lying down, some walking, some sitting, but as long as you're doing the mix and you're pushing yourself. When you become too comfortable, that's when you know your visualization's near. And then when you get comfortable, you go again, and you go again. You know, you never stop. Nobody is ever zero, but every day you are working to be in the field, to not be judgmental, to be giving love, to change the frequency. I noticed at work how much calmer everyone is around me. I don't moan anymore. I notice the days go just more breezily. I notice people are more wanting to know what I'm doing because they see something different, you know. I'm getting loads of little signs every day, and I know I'm on the right track, and it feels really good inside of me as well. It feels really nice, and my partner notices it as well. Been together 22 years, and he says, yeah, your energy's definitely changed. My younger brother, he can be quite difficult at times, and you could tell he can see it too. I'm just really excited to keep doing the work, and I feel so grateful for Dr. Joe and his team, and I'm so grateful that I invested in myself, and I gave 1,000,000%, and I'm going to give 1,000,000% again and again. My body temperature, there's a few things that I've found quite remarkable. I literally feel like I've got a new body. I know I didn't have any like severe illnesses or anything, and I've always been lucky and blessed with that. But in terms of migraine, knotted shoulders, backs, pain in my back, especially the top area, my knee sometimes, and my feet, I'd get very, very hot. My feet would feel like they're burning. But something I've noticed, which is a little bit of a miracle, I don't get burning feet anymore. And I can feel my face and it might feel hot, but my body inside feels regulated. I don't feel hot or cold. And it feels really amazing not to have burning feet and not to be sweating like uncontrollably. I just feel just more neutral to the weather, really. And I've never ever felt like that. I'm the biggest moaner of the weather, and I've not moaned about it once. Like, you know, my my key teacher, they say, oh, do you want me to open the window? I'm like, I'm fine now, it's all good, you know. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm seeing things like that because in my mind, I didn't even think that, oh, it's going to get rid of that. I was just going to manifest the house, big holiday, the best career of my life. And I want more than that now. I want to be an inspiration. I want to do bigger things to open people's hearts. I want to be an example for everybody. I want us to be the flock. I want us to all join together. So I hope this helped you. I highly recommend it. I recommend you putting in the work before as well, not just waiting for the event. I recommend you starting now. And if you can't afford to go, then these are the simple systems. You learn about the field, learn about matter, field, frequency, pineal gland, how to activate the pineal gland, breathing techniques. There's special breathing techniques where you breathe and you pull up the spinal fluid in your back, and you hit the pineal gland to activate it. There's other different types of breaths. Look on YouTube, anywhere. Look at the testimonials that Dr. Joe has, which are amazing, which are really inspiring. There's so many ways, but it's just being consistent, doing the work, not meditating in your bed, doing the same 20-minute one you've done for the whole 10 years. Really stepping up your game, doing 50 minutes an hour, doing walking meditations, sitting up meditations. And when it's really uncomfortable and things are hurting, to see when your pain body, as Eckhart Tolle says, or when the resistance, the fight comes up, you know, in your head because it doesn't like change. The only reason why your mind does that is because the mind likes comfort and wants to go back to being comfortable. And that's the only reason. It's to keep you safe and comfortable. So to get beyond that, you need to push. And when you push to go further from, you know, when you fight in your mind, I had a 4-hour, 15-minute battle with it. You understand that is really tough. But if you can start to recognize that and go, oh, I've got this pain because I'm getting resistance now. My body's not liking a change. So, okay, I know what it is. I know what it is because I didn't know what it was. I was like, these are awful meditations. I feel terrible. I've got this. But I realized it was my resistance because my body wanted to stay comfortable. And that's why I never changed. That's why my life never changed. You know, little things, nice things would happen. It's never been big changes or dramatic or anything. But I know now my life has changed already. It's my life. I'm going on an adventure. And I don't even know where or what or who. But I just feel like a little child excited for a new adventure. And I'm just going to stay aware of my brain and not beat myself up. And keep pushing and doing the work. And I've been doing it. I do an hour or more on the, seated. And then I do my walking meditations. and I've started back my yoga, and I go to my key class, and I'm doing it as a devotion, a dedication, because now when you taste a little bit, you don't want to stop, because then you realize I tasted it and I knew what it was. So there's no way back now. The only way is up. I'm staying in the field. No more matter for me. And it's very nice. It's very nice to see everyone change around me too. I see my partner change. I see my family change. And I see I've changed. It's not I'm changing. I literally have changed. I've got a new body. I've got a new body. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what unfolds. I'm just in awe, really. But I just want to say massive thank you, Dr. Joe. Massive thank you to his beautiful team. You guys just blew my mind. Thank you very much.